Ahoy there, me hearties! This be Captain Silverhook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank. Ha ha ha!
Hello, people, and welcome to podcast episode 126 of the Two Old Pirates. It's your boy Eric. I'm back at school first day, and you can see I'm tired as heck. But I thought I'd do a real quick episode, a true story from Rockport, our hometown. If you're from Rockport, if you're from the surrounding areas, I still think you'll get a kick out of this. All right. This is going to be called The Greatest Ass Kicking in Rockport History. Now, we all have heard about fights. You might have been in school and seen different people fight. You might have heard about different fights. You might have gone out to the beach and seen somebody got their butt whipped or something like that. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about one that is so unique, that is so amazing, and I'm guessing nobody that is watching this has ever heard of this. You'd have to be pretty old to understand about this. We have to go back to the spring of 1980. In Rockport, Texas. Rockport's still a very, very small town at that time, maybe 2,500, 3,000 people. Really shrimping and oysters and crabbing and stuff like that. Still seafare was free. All these different things that have changed and stuff. We still had Super D foods and Winds and U-Totem and Maverick Market. It was a much simpler time. But in the spring of 1980, there was a student who went to our high school, Rockport Fulton High School. He was a pirate. And he was your proverbial emo kid. He always wore like a hoodie or sweaters, didn't talk to anybody in the halls. He was very, very into himself. He didn't talk to a whole lot of other people. So, typical teenager. And he got harassed all the time. He was picked on all the time. But mostly by the more popular people, the jocks and the wealthier kids and stuff like that, because he was a nobody. He wasn't really involved with anything at school, and it's sad that people do that. But people have always been bullies, and there will always be bullies. But this is a unique story. So, my sister and brother-in-law, Vinny's, my co-host, his parents, they both graduated from Rockport Fulton in 1980. All right, so I'm showing their age. Too bad. So in 1980, they graduated, and they told me this story, especially my brother-in-law, Andy. And when I heard this, I've just always held on to it because it's almost like a movie. So you go to the spring, and this kid's always being picked on and stuff. When he walks in the hall, they'll, throw water on him. They'll call him names. They're always picking on him and stuff. Now, I do not know what happened on the particular day that this took place, but what I do know is that something happened to where one of the more popular football players was like, I'm going to kick his ass. And so he went up to this kid and was like, I don't know if they bumped into each other. I don't know if maybe the kid finally turned around and said something to it, but it was on. And he basically told the kid, before we leave school, when school's out, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to find you and kick your ass. So as soon as he said that, there's no cell phones back then. There's no internet. There wasn't even air conditioning, I don't think, at Rockport Fulton High School at that time. There was still a smoking room for the teachers. I mean, it's old school. But the word got around real quick, and everybody was saying, hey, so-and-so on the football team, so-and-so, the popular kid, so he's going to kick his ass. And so-and-so was much bigger. It wasn't like a slight imbalance. The football player was much bigger, much more powerful, much stronger, and the other guy was kind of like a small, skinny kind of dude. So everybody's all like, man, we're gonna watch this fight. First off, kids nowadays want to go see fights. So imagine back then, imagine the hallways as he walked through the halls, class by class, teacher to teacher, and people were whispering, he's going to get his ass kicked. So-and-so's going to jump him and kick his ass. Now, the thing is, this kid's hearing this, and he's got to deal with this. Talk about anxiety, hearing about this all day long. And, you're quiet, you're reserved, you're to yourself. You don't do anything wrong. That guy's going to kick your ass. So this goes on all day long, and then finally, he walked home from school every single day, and people knew this. And he walked, if you know anything about Rockport Fulton High School, where the old tennis courts are that are still there, right across the road, there was a big open field, like a practice field that the football players would practice in. This is way before there was ever soccer or a softball field out there, those other tennis courts, just a big open field. And if you're from Rockport, you know what I'm talking about. And so the kids walking through the parking lot out there, the big old parking lot over by the old tennis courts and stuff, and people are pointing and they're like, man, he's going to get his ass whipped. And they started leaving their cars and they started following because they knew that this other guy was going to catch up to him somewhere. They knew that the fight was eventually going to happen. So he makes it, and as he gets to that opening, he sees that there's all these kids already there, and then there's kids behind him that are following him. And 2 or 3 of the guys that hang out with the guy who's supposed to fight him, they're already there with the guy, and they're like, come on, let's do this. And the kid's all, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I have nothing against you. I don't want to fight. And they're calling him every name in the book. You're a wussy. You're a chicken. Da-da-da. You ain't got no guts and stuff. And they're just amping him on and amping him on. He's like, I don't want to fight. You don't understand. And the guy comes out, and you've got dozens of kids surrounding it watching. And the guy comes up to him and is all like, it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter that you don't want to fight. I told you I'm going to kick your ass today. I'm going to kick your ass in front of all these students, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, if you think about the kid, in his mind, he's like, I didn't do anything really to deserve this. I get picked on every single day. I might as well just take my lumps. And so the big guy gets in like his, he's squaring up and stuff, and the kid's all like, hold on a second. Can I at least take my hoodie off? And this is where my brother-in-law and my sister, they had tagged along like everybody else to watch this fight, and they watched what happened. It's almost like out of a movie. As the kid's taking the hoodie off and the guy's like looking around like everybody's cheering for him. He's doing a lot of this more for his ego than anything else, because it's like, I'm a big tough dude. I'm a big popular guy. So I'm going to squash this little bitty bug. So he's got, and then as he's like, getting in, he's bowing up and stuff like that, the kid takes it off and then reaches and throws it over the big guy's head and cinches it down, like pulls it tight and pulls it down. And then as my brother-in-law repeated this 1 or 2 times to me, but I remember, just starts pounding on this guy's head. The guy's arms are flailing because he can't do anything. His head's under control. He can't kick because he doesn't know what's going on. And that guy has it cinched so tight that the guy can't move. And he just keeps pounding and pounding and pounding the side of his head over and over. And everybody just, my brother-in-law says he remembers that people were just in awe. They were just shocked. Nobody was making a sound. It was like proverbially you could drop a pin and hear it. And he just keeps pounding this guy. It's like he's taken out all those days of aggression that he ever had about people making fun of him or picking on him or flicking his nose or tripping him in the hall or pulling his hair, all the crap that bullies do. And finally the guy goes down to a knee. He doesn't stop. He just keeps pounding. A couple of people from the audience are like, stop, you're going to hurt him. Doesn't ever say a word, just keeps pounding and pounding and pounding. Finally, the guy drops. Like a heavy weight, just poof, on the ground. The kid undoes the hoodie, takes it off, looks at it, puts it back on, picks up his books, and walks back to the alleyway out to the road so he can walk up the sidewalk and go home. Everybody was just sitting there in awe. They were just like, the guy's laid out. The guy walks off. It's like a movie. It literally is. It's almost like a movie. But in this story, at Rockport Fulton High School, you had a kid who'd been picked on probably his entire junior high and high school career, and my brother-in-law and my sister were there as witnesses who saw him unleash that anger. And when he took that hoodie off, the only way he knew he couldn't beat this guy one-on-one. The other guy was much bigger, and the kid didn't really know how to fight. But he had enough smarts to figure, if I can go ahead and somehow balance this out, if I can somehow bring him down a notch to where I can have a chance, and it clicked. Wrap it around his head, cinch it tight with one hand and hold on like you're on a bull, pull it down and just start going to town. And it worked. And he beat the shit out of that guy. It was the best ass kicking in Rockport history. So yeah, you might have been out to the Dallas nightclub a long time ago and seen a fighter out the Continental Cowboy or different fightings. I'm not saying those weren't good, but they weren't the best ass kicking ever. The little guy beat the big guy. You have David versus Goliath. You have the jock versus the nerd, all the different storylines and stuff. And he didn't talk about it afterwards. He just simply got his hoodie and walked away. He didn't spit on the guy. He didn't kick the guy. He didn't sit there and say, look what I did. He didn't beat his chest. He was like, I didn't want to do this anyways. His hand was forced. He finished the job. He kicked his ass. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the best ass kicking in Rockport history. I hope that you enjoyed this story. If you know of anybody that graduated back in 1980 and you can give me some more insight on this, that'd be awesome also. But if not, please like and share, and we'll be coming up with a new episode real soon. For the Two Old Pirates, I'm Eric. Peace.